Maybe this is just my age showing at this point, but I feel like a lot of social media apps make signing out very complicated. It feels like the sign out button is always hidden behind a bunch of menus. Feels like entrapment, really. Because I'll be on an app, right? Let's call it Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of them, you can pick them. But I feel like the one I was on this week for some reason was LinkedIn. Yeah. No, I think I had to be on LinkedIn because someone reached out to me. They started a message about a sponsorship. Well, no, the message said sponsored on it, but I think that means a sponsorship, right? But I was on LinkedIn and I never go on that app and I decided, well, I don't want to stay around here, right? And the off chance I'll get a notification about someone's 7 year work anniversary and then I'm going to get all these, you know, generated responses I can give them, which is like, congrats, wow, amazing. Want to connect? I would learn so much from you. I'm like, oh, well, these things are getting very involved. Nice ass. I'm like, oh, this is LinkedIn. I don't know why that's an option. How much money you do make? All right, well, I mean, that's a question I would like to ask, but I don't know why that's on there. I guess they're really learning who I am. But I was on LinkedIn and I was like, all right, let me sign out of this because I don't want anyone to know I was here, right? It's like if you go to a restaurant and then you do like the eating challenge they have, like, oh, eat a foot long hot dog in under 27 seconds. And I'm like, that's double the time I need. And they're like, what's up? I know that's a long neck of yours, but is the throat that good too? I'm like, oh, whoa, hey, no personal questions, please. If you want those, message me on LinkedIn. But if you ever go to one of those places and maybe you do like an unsavory competition of like, oh yeah, eat a giant cheesecake in under an hour, you might be like, oh, that's an accomplishment. I'd like people to know I did that, but I don't think that's one that you would want to, tout and tell people about. So on the way out, you'd be like, hey, that Polaroid you took of me, can you just like take it off the wall? They're like, no, no, we're gonna frame it, we're gonna do the whole thing. So everyone that comes here will know that you did it. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. Where is it again? And they're like, oh yeah, it's just down there. And then on my way to the bathroom, I'll rip the Polaroid off the wall and I'll jump out of the bathroom window so that no one will ever know I was there. And that's kind of the same strategy I wanted to use with LinkedIn. I didn't want to leave any trace that I was there. Sure, I went in, I did my business, I ate the cheesecake in under an hour, I messaged people, but I don't want anyone to know that I did that. But here I am, I guess self reporting, right? Damn it. Also, if you're lactose intolerant, that cheesecake challenge, it would probably be pretty self evident because you would be blowing a hole through your pants for the next week, I bet. Business week at least. While we're talking about LinkedIn, well, I got business on the mind, huh? Also, business week is probably the most annoying way to say 5 days. But it's true. And that's what my life is now. And one of the things that happened in my life, right, was me trying to sign out of LinkedIn. And I couldn't find the sign out button. I think I actually had to Google how do you sign out of the LinkedIn app because I couldn't find that shit. And yeah, it felt like it was trapping me in there. It was like if you go to a friend's house and then they don't want you to leave, so they just keep, you know, not giving you clear instructions on how to leave. I don't know how you got in there in the first place. I don't know how you would have gotten into their house and then not known where you came from. I don't know if you got friends with people with big houses. But imagine you're in a friend's house and you're like, hey, what's the way out of here again? And they're like, oh, yeah, just around the corner. I'm like, around the corner. Am I going to see it? They're like, yeah, no, you'll see it. You'll see it for sure. And I go and I look for it. I'm like, hey, but I couldn't find it. Where is it? And they're like, oh, couldn't find it? Hey, while you're here, we're actually starting a video. You want to watch it? I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah, it's going to be like a baby duck that was in an oil spill. And then you're going to watch people clean it with Dawn. I'm like, oh, that's a Dawn ad? They're like, oh, well, yeah, it is an ad. I guess we do have to tell you that. It's in the bottom right corner. I'm like, wait a minute. You're just trapping me in here so I watch your ads so that you make money. And they're like, no, no, you can leave anytime you want. I'm like, yes, I would like to. And how do I do that? And they're like, yeah, just around the corner. I'm like, you said that last time. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going on this wild goose chase. They're like, well, no, it's a duck on the commercial. I'm like, enough about the commercial. Well, how do I get out of here? They're like, you'll see it. But I'm not going to because I don't know where it is. I go where they tell me to go, even when I Googled it. And I was like, where do you go? And they're like, oh, go to this directory, right? This menu and then this menu. And it should be right there. I'm like, oh, that's simple. How do I not see that? Of course it's there. And then you do it and it's like, oh yeah, you see the gearhead emblem and you're like, oh, that's the settings, right? That's where I should be. And then the next menu, it's completely different. And then you go back to the Google search and you're like, what the fuck was that about, guys? And you look at the date it was published, like 2016, and you're like, oh, this is old as shit. And you look up 2025, LinkedIn, how to sign out. And it takes you to a LinkedIn article that some intern for some company wrote to look good to his manager about, oh, I have 5 ways to disconnect from work and truly sign out of your job. I'm like, no, enough of this. Just tell me how to get out of this goddamn app. But I feel like this is happening with all social media apps. I think even Instagram. I tried to sign out the other day. That shit is like, I mean, it's just in the little top right and you go all the way to the bottom, but I never go to the bottom. More of a top. No, it depends on what day of the week, I suppose, right? If it's during the business week, I might be tired. What am I talking about? But yeah, is that been your experience? These social media apps, do they feel like it's making signing out really confusing? I feel like it should be the easiest thing ever, right? But all these things, they're so easy to get into, but they're the most difficult to get out. I think social media has taken a page from gym memberships. Gym memberships, ooh, those things are worse than a bear trap. You get stuck in one of those, you're fucked. You have to pay an arm and a leg. Usually with a bear trap, it's just one. But yeah, with a gym membership, you gotta like pay to get out of that shit, and it's gonna cost you like half your month's salary. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe social media apps are capitalizing on that. They're like, oh yeah, they always fall for that dumb shit. Let's do that to them. Let's trap them in here, and then they'll just walk around and pay for an overpriced smoothie because why not? Is what they tell themselves. Even though there's a Jamba Juice right across the street that's much cheaper and probably better. Anyways, make sure you guys like this video. I'm going to say near the beginning because you've been bilking the like button, whereas you should be milking it. God, what is bilking, man? That sounds dirty. Yeah, it does sound dirty, doesn't it? But it means to evade or elude, and that's what you've been doing. Also, bilk can mean to take something by deceit. And actually, that's what you've been doing too. You've been taking a like from me. You duplicitous rascal, you. So I'm just here to say, can you please actually give that to me? I really need it. And excuse my language. You know, this is too much bombast I'm throwing around. Dumb. But speaking of bombast, do you think, I was thinking about this, it's very topical. A certain something happened, right? The day I'm recording this, it actually happened like 5 hours ago. Yeah. There was a few bombs. Fucking Trump, you know? And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, there's a talking point I wrote down like months ago. And I'm like, oh, this is very relevant now. And I thought about it. I'm like, do you think there would be interplanetary wars if we eventually live on multiple different planets? Because eventually, right, the idea is, oh, human life will be on different planets. We're kind of eyeing Mars right now, right? Giving him a lascivious look. You know, giving him a little, giving Mars the old fuck eyes. And so it seems like that's where we're going to enter into first. But if that's true, right, we go onto a bunch of different planets, do you think we're going to fight other planets the same way like countries fight each other? And I was like, yeah, probably. Because this is what always happens, right? We get like a piece of territory and then we're like, I want yours. But it would also be kind of weird, right? The language that people would use. Like right now, think about it. When you go to a different country, what do you do? Some of the things you do for fun. I remember I went to even a different state with a friend. And one of the things we did the first night we were there is we opened up his dating app. I don't have one. But we opened up his and we just went through and scrolled and said, well, who's around here, right? Like what does the dating pool in, I believe it was Boston? It was DC when we were doing this. We were like, let's see what the dating pool in DC looks like. I was like, if we do get on different planets, do you think we're going to do the same thing? Like people will come in from Mars and they'll be like, oh, let's see what the Earthlings look like. Ew. They only have 10 fingers? And I'm like, how many do you guys have? They're like, we're not going to tell you that. It's a secret. That's why we wear gloves. Yeah, and Mars, they're going to wear gloves that are just, the cartoon mittens where they have a thumb and then just one thing that covers all 4 fingers. Because, yeah, there might be Simpsons and Family Guy characters living over in Mars, right? They don't have all 5 fingers. They can't be 10 toes down over there, just like we are here in this beautiful Earth. But yeah, can you imagine the dating pool? And then being embarrassed, being like, yeah, I'm kind of talking to someone. They're like, ooh, where's he from? Well, he's from Earth. Oh, Earth, ew. That probably won't be socially acceptable to say in the future. But for the sake of a joke, right? And this, unlikely future because we're all gonna probably blow ourselves up before we can get there, right? War has got to be like the dumbest thing ever, right? Like, think about it. It was because people couldn't communicate with their words. So they're like, I'm going to kill you now. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't think, like, I don't think of things in very intelligent ways. So let me dumb it down for myself. Imagine you had a cookie and then someone was like, I'd like your cookie. I'm like, I don't really want to share it. I feel like this is just mine. And they're like, all right, well, can you at least share? And it's like, oh, 50-50. I don't know if I can do that. And they're like, no, I was thinking more 80-20. And I'm like, 80-20? Oh, that's a little insulting. Why'd you take all that from me? They're like, give it. I'm like, I'm not going to give it. It's mine. And then what if they were like, all right, and then I'm going to kill you? I'm like, what? How do we get here? So I don't know. War has always been a like very serious thing and very much respect to the people that, participate and give their lives to protect people. But as a concept, war's got to be like very silly because how the fuck did that be where we got to, right? And then, one of the things Trump tweeted today was like, or Truth Social, is that what it's on, right? But he said, now is the time for peace. But he said it like after the bombs, which is like an opposite of like, when someone's about to insult you and they say like, hey, no offense, but, and you're like, hey, whatever you're about to say, just don't tell me. Because if it had to be preceded by that, I don't want to hear it. If there's even a slight chance that this will be offensive, please don't do it. But this is like the backwards version of that, where he dropped a bunch of bombs. He's like, all right, let's be peaceful now. It's like, well, if you wanted that, you shouldn't have done that. So it's like when someone's like, no offense, but I don't know. Your eyes always look like that. And it's like, don't say that. Don't. See, you have enough awareness to be like, no offense, but you don't have enough awareness to stop you from doing the thing. You know what would have been inoffensive? Not saying the thing. You know what would have been peaceful? Fill in the blank. You got it. Actually, some people maybe won't get it. It also reminds me of like not that I've been in one myself, but like an abusive relationship where, someone's like, you always yell at me. And the other person's like, no, I don't. And they're like, see, you're doing it right now. See? Oh, look. And then they like try to invalidate the other person's argument. I feel like that's what's happening right now, right? Where he did the thing. And then if there's retaliation, he's going to be like, see? That's very violent, don't you think? That was kind of messed up. It's giving like very like older sibling energy. Because like an older sibling can beat the shit out of a younger sibling. And then when the younger sibling runs to the parent, the older sibling can completely deny everything. Be like, no, that didn't happen. I'm the responsible one, remember? In fact, they hit me. What? Hey, whoa. I mean, you did hit me, and I'm fine with letting that go, but don't peddle this lie, okay? But yeah, I do wonder, do you think people with siblings are more inclined to fight people? Because they grew up doing it, right? Growing up with a sibling is kind of wild because they can just like lay one on you and it doesn't matter. In public, right, there's a lot of, consequences. That's what it's called. Sorry, I'm not familiar with those, so it's hard for me to remember the word. But when you're growing up, right, a sibling can just hit a sibling and because it's blood, it doesn't matter. But if you're on a playground, right, when you're younger, the only time you're around people is under parental guidance, or what is it? I'm having a really hard time. Guidance. What is the word? Where they're like monitoring. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't find it though. But whenever you're being watched by adults, that's when you get to hang out with other people as a kid. So there was always like, a quick, swift judgment call if you were to hit someone. Because then a parent would be like, hey, what the fuck was that? Or an adult be like, don't do that. You just stop that. But a sibling's like the Wild West, because like, yeah, they'll do it, and there's no consequence. Because what are you gonna do? Run away? What are they gonna do? Get in trouble? It doesn't. They're gonna be there tomorrow and the next day, and they were there yesterday. They were there today. They'll be there next week. It's So I wonder. But then also, kids with no siblings or people that grew up with no siblings, they probably don't know how to deal with people, right? So then maybe they'll be more inclined to fight people. Because they didn't get it out of their system, so they'll be like, all right, now the world is my punching bag. I'm like, I don't Figure that out somewhere else. All right, don't bring it out and make it other people's problem. I guess that's one good thing, right? The sibling angle. You keep the trauma in house so you don't spread it elsewhere. But I don't know. Because Trump was one of five, so what happened there? Did he not get it out? Did he not get his punches? I don't know. But yeah, do you think that we will fight for other planets in the future? Because it seems like it's kind of in human nature, right? That's the only thing that can explain all the fighting. Because we're not good communicators, so we're like, all right, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But it's kind of wild, right? Give me your lunch money. No. All right. I'm going to fight you now. It's like, oh, how do we get there? I don't like that. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I don't know. If you didn't have siblings growing up, would that make you more peaceful? No, it would also make you spoiled, right? Because then your parents have all their attention to you, and so you think you can get away with anything? I don't know. Because you can't beat your parents up. So you can't get it out that way. So then what do, right? I think we should have more, what are those things called? Where you can go in a room and you just destroy stuff. I think we should have more of those. And then we would have less wars. Thinking about running for office. What do you think about this platform? Do you think I can run on it? No, probably not, because I don't even know how to run. Hello. Nike thinks I know how to run because he keeps throwing ads at me. Nike hit me with an email. The subject line was fresh new kicks just for you. And I don't know how you feel about that. I don't like these conversational lines that ads have nowadays. Where they're like, hey, bud, satisfy your hunger with a meal on us. I'm like, you don't know me that well. Don't talk to me like that. Freak. Stay over there. All right. I'm going to involve the authorities. And because I don't know how to use my words, I'm going to make them hurt you. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Shit like, oh, you look thirsty. Take a sip. I'm like, you don't have permission to talk to me that way. Dasani. Okay. And besides, if I was thirsty, why would I go to you? I don't have anything against Dasani. Everyone's like, oh, it tastes like a dime or a nickel was left in that water for a couple years. But I don't, it's fine. I think it's okay. I just got done talking about war, but that might have been the most controversial thing I said yet this episode. Stupid. But I still, for the sake of being socially accepted, I still shit on Dasani. But behind closed doors, I'm good. I'm good with Dasani. I have like the opposite sibling relationship. Where behind closed doors, I'm good. But in the public, I'm going to beat the shit out of them. Whereas a sibling will beat the shit out of you in private. And then when the light of day comes out and everyone else is watching, I'll be, they'll be an angel, a saint. And I'll be like, why can't you be more behaved like your sister? I'm like, hey. You don't know what happens in the shadows, okay? But yeah, Nike emailed me with this email. It's an ad. And it was like, fresh new kicks just for you. I'm like, yeah, and everyone else. If I click on this website, no, tell me, are these shoes going to be just for me? Well, no, they're for everyone, but they're just for everyone. Like they're going to be great for a lot of people, but especially you. Really? What makes you say that? No, go ahead. Make it specialized. Tell me why you love me. Nike, if I was a worm, would you still love me? You got shoes for a worm? I haven't seen any. So what are you going to do there? Just going to put some tech fleece on me and shuffle me out the door? What are you going to do then? Yeah, you're not ready for these questions, aren't you? Nike. Just do it? Yeah, what if I was a worm, bud? What would it be? Am I still going to be allowed in the Nike Run Club app? Am I going to be able to log my miles as a little old worm? But yeah, I feel like these things, they talk to you very conversationally, but I feel like they're also getting very personalized. And I don't like how personalized they're getting. I feel like they're going to get to a point where they're like, oh, who cares that you messed everything up this week? Have wings on us. I'm like, hey, how'd you know that happened? Did you talk to my manager? Why'd you say that? Yeah, I know you dropped all those packing peanuts and you had to call in all the other employees to pick them up, but why don't you enjoy a cup of froyo on the house? I'm like, what? And then you read the fine print and there's an asterisk, it's like, yeah, well, it's only buy one, get one half off. So you're not actually getting much free. Well, you're getting half of one free. I'm like, so if I get half a scoop, is that free? They're like, no, well, half of the half is free. You're going to get a quarter off, which is half off. But half off of half is a quarter. So you're getting half off. The point is, come in and spend your money on froyo, okay? It doesn't even matter. You're gonna put a bunch of toppings on it anyways. It's gonna cost a lot of money. Okay? I've seen you. You're crazy with the Oreos and the cookie dough. You know you're mixing cookies. You shouldn't do that. That's sacrilegious, you know. If Froyo was a church, then the mixing of certain toppings would be not kosher. I don't even know what does kosher mean. I don't know. But I don't like these conversational ads. It seems too like I know you, you know me. Come buy some shoes, bud. No, even if we were friends, I wouldn't do that shit. All right, because I'd be like, what's your play, huh? You're gonna get me to run more? Is that what's gonna happen? Let me guess. I'm gonna buy these running shoes from you, and then you're gonna be like, oh hey, so you like the running shoes? You want to leave a survey for a chance to win a $50 gift card? That chance has never seen the light of day. That chance is just floating somewhere in your storage area. It's never gonna ever find a home, and you're never gonna put it out of its misery either. You're just gonna keep waving it around like something that people can have, but no one will have it. I don't know what this is. What are we doing? What am I even talking about? But yeah, do you like that? Do you like when ads are like, hey, Gauruv, in all caps, because it got my name from like a forum or something? It's like, we've been thinking about you. Have you? Yeah. Seems like you can think about a lot of people, huh? Let me see your phone. Who have you been texting? Where else has this email gone to? Nike is like that one guy that sends the same copy and paste prompt to everyone on the dating app or in his DMs. Oh no, Valentine. Oh my goodness, Valentine. All right. But if you know that, you know ball. But it feels bad, you know? I don't feel like I'm desired. I feel like Nike's just giving it out to anyone, huh? How are we going to form a soul bond, Nike, if you're just, going around flapping your little swoosh at other people? Like, what does this mean between us, huh? How am I going to take you home to my parents? Fresh new kicks just for you. I've heard that one before. My ex said that. Adidas. Ever heard of them? Yeah. Seems like you've been stalking them for some time because I'm seeing some silhouettes come out of you that are awfully familiar. You're starting to wear the same thing my ex did. Wonder where you got that idea. Yeah, they have a public Instagram. All their stuff is out there. I know you can see it. Those are very specific looking pants, all right? I know where you got that idea from. You know that space trip that happened? Speaking of space, wow, so topical. But a few months ago, right? Blue Origin, the Katy Perry like space trip, it included Gayle King, and I think like a week or so after Gayle King and the gals came back down to Earth, she was interviewed and people were like criticizing her, and one of the lines she threw out was, "Well, have you been to space?" And I thought about that. I'm like, there's probably some people that are like, "Oh, I haven't." That's a good point. Sorry, I will take all my criticism back. I apologize. But I don't, I don't know who would think that way. Because like, imagine this, right? Imagine like I'm talking to someone, it's an argument, and we haven't gotten quite to the point of war yet. And so we're still just talking. And then they say like, "Oh, Garv, you can't even do a backflip." And I'm like, okay, I don't care. I have no desire to do a backflip. The same way I have no desire to go to space. Like if I was criticizing Gayle King and she was like, "Well, have you been to space?" I'm like, "No. I haven't gotten that unlucky yet. I don't want to do that shit. This currency you're using has no value at my bank. I don't recognize that. I don't care that you've been to space. I don't care that you, what is it, hurt your elbow, broke your arm, whatever that, I don't know what that fucking vine is." But I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, imagine someone making that argument. "Oh, well, can you even do a somersault?" I'm like, no, I can't. I also can't snap with my left hand. What does that mean? It's not something I care to do. It's not going to improve my life in any way. So why'd you throw it at me like it's going to make any kind of difference? But that's got to feel bad, right? It's kind of like going to space on the Blue Origin group was kind of like throwing the first pitch at a baseball game. Because if it goes well, cool. People will be really interested for like one day and be like, hey, good job. That was nice. People from your past may DM you and be like, hey, saw that. So cool that you got to do that in front of the audience. But if it goes bad, that's like the worst case scenario. Because imagine, right? You go to one of those baseball games, you throw the pitch, and oh, it's atrocious. Now you're going to be turned into a GIF that's going to be shared in like Twitter replies for the rest of the eternity. Or until we find the next time for peace. But if it goes well, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna clip it. No one's gonna talk about it. They're gonna be like, it happened, and that's whatever. But if it goes bad, everyone's gonna talk about it. Same thing with the Blue Origin space trip, right? If that shit went bad, oh my god, it would have been terrible. But it went well, and now everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Gayle, get back on the morning show or whatever the fuck she's on, right? Isn't she on like Good Morning America or something? She's on like a morning show, right? I don't know if it's with. I know Michael Strahan. He's on the Good Morning America. I don't even know who's on what. Well, who's on first? I know that much. But that is kind of wild. Well, have you been to space? No. No, I feel like if I was, you would have heard about it. I know it's a rhetorical question by her, right? But it's kind of fun to throw that on someone. Because someone could be like, oh, my bad. Yeah. But you could also just easily look around that and be like, no, I haven't been to it. And then just continue with your criticism of her. And then what is she going to do? I don't know. Well, have you been on, do you host a morning show? Or is that what she does? I don't know. It shouldn't even be, see, that's not even the most important thing about her now. She's been to space. It's also funny people being like, you didn't go to space. Just to be like, no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Just gaslighting her. I wonder if some point she's gonna like be like, maybe I didn't go to space. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, we never went to the moon or whatever. What the fuck is this episode? But because there's like that, I think it, I mean, it's a joke, but like some people really hold it to be the truth. But because that gets talked about so much, I feel like that gives more to its credibility with some people. Like the fact that it gets talked about so much probably leads certain people to be like, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't true, why would we all be talking about it, right? It's like the Mandela effect in a way, where it's like if enough people are talking about it, you might just be like, oh yeah, that's the truth. So what if enough people told Gayle King you didn't go to space, and she just one day is like, does anyone have a recording? By the way, she keeps it real hush hush, keeps it to her family. Hey, reach out to her like sister or whatever if she has a sibling. She's like, hey, by the way, it's good to see you. Good to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a while. By the way, you know I went to space that one time. You didn't record that by chance, did you? You did. Oh, okay. Would you mind sending that to me? And that did happen, by the way, according to you. It did. Okay. I would just like to see it myself. I mean, I would just like to remind myself of the day and relive the moment. It's not because I don't believe I didn't go to it, because a bunch of people are telling me I didn't go to it. I'm just think of it as scrapbooking, right? A little digital scrapbook. I want to check it out for myself. So send that over to me ASAP. I think my Google Doc, or my Google Drive, I just cleared it. So the space should be full. So show me that shareable link and I'll dip into that. Um, but no. Have you guys ever been to space? Imagine that as like a first date topic of conversation. Yeah, we'll just get matzo sticks for the table. Thank you. And 2 pink lemonades. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. If it has a strawberry, just place it in. Awesome. Awesome. Also extra, you like my marinara sauce? Ranch? Blue cheese? We'll do all of them. Yeah. We'll do the works. Thank you. By the way, you ever been to space? Yeah. You know, Olivia Rodrigo, she's not too fond of it. I feel like she hates Gayle King. I don't know. But what does she know, right? She's just sour as a person. That's one of her albums, right? Sour, sweet and sour. What am I saying? Anywho, this is a great episode. This is one of the best, huh? Because I'm one of the best to ever do it. You ever record a podcast episode? No? Oh, okay. Well, checkmate. you have no, yeah, you don't want to do this? Oh, okay. Yeah. You don't want me to do this. Oh, okay. Well, I know. This wasn't great. You would think it would be a little better given that it's my job and all. No, this isn't my job. I have one of those and it does pay me money. And I'm much less talkative over there. I do a lot of talking here, don't get paid. Do a lot less talking at work, do get paid. Makes you wonder, hmm? Maybe the signs are there. I'm just not picking up on it. Anywho, give me a sign that you like this episode and make sure to leave a like on it. And once again, I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will talk at you next week. Okay.